To the heavily Democratic district, the 44th congressional district, we have Jim Bates winning by 52 over 45% of the vote over his Republican challenger Rob Butterfield. That is a closer race than it would have been without the sexual harassment charges that were levied against Jim Bates recently. Also in the 45th district for the congressional race here, we have the incumbent Duncan Hunter, the Republican, with a big margin here, 77 over 21% over Pete Lepiscopo.
A lot of interest in some of the state propositions, and probably none more so than the propositions relating to auto insurance. Proposition 100, the insurance rate reduction, right now that is failing by 55% of the vote to 45% of the vote. Moving on to Prop 101, the pain and suffering reduction, that also failing by 78% of the margin so far early in this mail-in balloting. Prop 103, the insurance regulation, again failing with 56% of the vote, those for it 44%. Prop 104, that also failing at this point. The no-fault insurance, that one sponsored by the insurance industry, those opposed 68%, those for it 32%. And Prop 106, limiting attorneys' claims, that is the only one that is passing. That was sponsored by the insurance industry. That is passing in this absentee voting 60% to 40% so far.
And I think at this point we'll be going on to take a look at some of the other state props. If I'm correct, here we have a couple of the AIDS initiatives. Prop 96 first, which would require involuntary testing for people charged with sex crimes. That is passing. 71% voting yes, 29% voting no.
Prop 102, the AIDS reporting, that is failing. The medical authorities, medical establishment had been opposed to that one, and that is failing at this point by 54% to 46% of the vote.
And the cigarette tax, Prop 99, that seems to be passing at this point. 62% voting yes to raise the tax from 10 cents to 35 cents, and 38% voting no.
We'll come back with more election coverage right after this. Please stay with us.
Go and see what Jack White has for us. He is waiting in Election Central. And Jack, are you able to get any county numbers for us?
Yes, we have state propositions. Locally, Proposition B, that was the Board of Supervisors growth proposal, no, 55%. And right now it looks as though it's going to be very tough sledding for growth management proposals tonight. Proposition C, the county advisory, the wind tester on whether there ought to be a county land use agency, that is being approved, 67%. This is absentee ballot now. On Proposition D, the county limited growth proposal, no, 52%. In the city, H and J, the city council's Proposition H, no, 51% right now, so that's kind of dicey. But on J, it's no, 53%. J was the limited growth proposal. And on Prop L, the one to increase the height for the Mission Brewery, well, San Diego, absentee-wise anyway, is saying yes by 76%. In the other proposals, propositions on the ballot, non-growth, the GAN limit for San Diego County, the GAN limit waivers appears to be headed for a passage finally. Proposition E, the district election question for the city of San Diego, right now 50%, 50.3 says yes, so that's still very iffy. F and G, the police review proposals. F, the one that the Charter Review Commission put on the ballot, which would have a police review commission. Right now it's no, 50%. So that's kind of hanging in there. Proposition G, the one sponsored by Councilman Ed Struxman, backed by the Police Officers Association, no, 55%. That's based, as I should say, on 1/3 of the absentee ballot. As for the advisory vote, K, which again is a wind tester, do you think you ought to have a city policy requiring those who employ more than 25 people set up staggered work hours, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? The absentee ballot indicates yes by 68.5%. And that's the way things stand right now as we wait for more numbers to come in, Jack.
Okay. Season this Saturday in New Mexico. It's going to be the last game Denny Stoltz will coach. He's been fired and reassigned in the department. News 8's Jim Laslovic has a profile of the man and his career.
How quickly times change. Fred Miller had reason to hug Denny Stoltz after the Aztecs beat BYU to clinch the WAC title in 1986. And today, Fred Miller said he had reason enough to fire Denny Stoltz. The '86 season ended with the Aztecs 50 seconds away from the Holiday Bowl title.
It is good!
Iowa came back with a field goal of its own in the final seconds to win by a point.
It is good! What's on the clock?
Over the next 23 games, the Aztecs too often found themselves on the short end of the score with no time left on the clock. That interception was Todd Santos' first pass of the '87 season. They lost 5 of their first 6 games and lost most of their fan support and momentum they had built up after the '86 windfall.
It takes time. I don't give a damn who you are. You just can't walk in and say we're going to win if you don't have a win roster.
The Aztecs are 15-19 under Stoles with 1 game to play. But look at some of the accomplishments. Stoles led the Aztecs to their first WAC championship and Holiday Bowl game. They've beaten arch-rival BYU 2 out of 3 times, and 2 years ago, with players like Patrick Rowe and Scott Barrick and Tommy Booker, the Aztecs had their best in-county recruiting year ever.
I think my reputation speaks for itself. I'm capable of building programs and certainly capable of building this one, and we're in a great deal better shape today than we were in 1986.
There is irony here. This athletic complex, which has become one of the showpieces on campus, was built largely because of the enthusiasm generated from the '86 squad that Denny Stoles coached the WAC championship. And now the first major announcement from this facility is that Denny Stoles has been sacked. Jim Laslovic, News 8, San Diego State.
I feel sorry for our young players. Especially the kids that have decided to come to San Diego State and help us build. And you know, we win in '86, and we have to kind of reload in '87, '88, and that's not much time at the major college level to develop a program. So, but that's the nature of the game, and that's the nature of the program, and that's it.